Hello YouTube! Today I'm here to make a second video about cloud game streaming. Now I made a video a little bit earlier, and when I reviewed the video I realized that there were some parts that weren't super clear, and I wanted to make sure that I covered this in enough detail that somebody could easily follow along and do this themselves. So I decided that I'm going to scrap that original video and take it off YouTube, and I'm going to replace it with this one where I go into a little bit more detail. So starting with that, cloud gaming is basically the option to rent a cloud gaming server from a service and access it from a device that you own. And now that can be your computer at home. It can be something as cheap as a Raspberry Pi. It can be something like an Android box or a Linux box or a Mac even. So you have a lot of flexibility to choose something to game with. And another perk of cloud gaming is that you can really do it anywhere that has an internet connection. So that could be at home, that could be at a friend's house, or anywhere else that you can think of, as long as you've got enough internet and speed. And so the flexibility that you get from it is nice. And the other nice thing is that, as we said, you can basically just pay $30 for a Raspberry Pi and then set up your cloud gaming server and start gaming on a high quality PC. And that basically means that your cost to get this all set up, if you've got absolutely nothing right now, is between $30 and $100 to get something like a Raspberry Pi and a few accessories. And that's awesome. That's cheaper than any game console. It's way cheaper than a PC. So cloud gaming has some nice potential things that really can help other people. So I want to show you guys how you would set up a cloud gaming server, and I'm going to show you how you would just go about getting the whole thing together and what services and tools to use. So with no further ado, I want to introduce how we're going to do it. So we're using two products. One product is a software called Parsec. So Parsec is the game streaming technology that gets the games from your cloud computer to you at home or on your device somewhere. And the other piece of the equation is a cloud service called Paperspace. Now there are other cloud solutions that do work. Just for our purposes today, I'm going to show you Paperspace. That's what I've used and what I like so far, and I can stand by it because I've used it and it's awesome. So with Paperspace, you have two different ways of setting it up. One way is that you can download the Parsec app from the Parsec website, and if you do that, it's going to download a copy to your computer, go ahead and set up a free Parsec account, and then open the software after you've logged in. And when you do, it's going to show you this screen right here. And you'll see that you can either add a local computer on your network at home, or you can rent a cloud gaming computer. So you're going to click on this, scroll down, and you'll see that you have a couple different options from Paperspace. Now when you look in these details, you'll see that the processor and the RAM are the same across all three of these options. The difference between the three is the GPU, or graphic processor. And if you start at the very bottom of the list, you've got GPU plus, then you've got P4000, and then P5000 at the top of the list. And these are all adequate for gaming. These two will do kind of medium quality gaming, and this one will do the higher or ultra settings for gaming. And the way that the pricing works is that you pay a set amount every month for storage on the cloud, so that's where you install your operating system and your games. And then you pay an hourly rate for the amount of time that you actually game. And that's what these numbers are down here. So 40 cents for these two, 65 cents for this one. And if you click on one of these and set this up through the Parsec app, you get two perks. So one perk is that it's the absolute easiest way to set up a Paperspace server for gaming. And the second perk is that if you do that through Parsec, Parsec will automatically shut down your cloud gaming machine as soon as you stop streaming. And that means that as soon as you stop gaming, essentially, you stop getting billed, and it does it for you automatically. So that's a big positive thing. That's nice. Now the other option is that you can open up your browser and go to paperspace.com, and you can set up your account directly through Paperspace. And that's the option that I'm going to show you today. And the reason that I'm going to show you that option is that if you do it through their website, they give you the choice of using a promo code. And I've actually got a promo code that will get you $10 off their service, so a $10 credit. And that's enough to get your storage set up and set you up with a few hours of free cloud gaming. And it'll let you basically see if this is something that is right for you. See if it meets your needs and if your equipment works well and if your network is good enough and things like that. So it means that you can test it for free and just see how you like it without investing anything up front. So assuming that you're going to continue with me, like we said, we're going to go to paperspace.com. On this screen, go ahead and put in your email, create a password, say that you're not a robot, and then sign up. Once you do that, they're going to send you an email where you just confirm the account. And once you've done that, go back to the browser and you're going to go to paperspace.com/download. And that will download their Windows program so that you have a client to actually take care of the next steps. Now, once you've downloaded it, go ahead and install it on your computer. And when you first open it, it's going to ask you to log in. So you're going to use the same account that you just created right here. And once you do log in, you're going to see this screen. So this is my logged in client. And this is where you do two things. One is that you set up your machines, handle the details for your account, and you can also use this to access the machines that you set up. So you'll need to do that just to get things configured initially. And I'm going to walk through that step by step with you. So first thing you'll do is click on this big plus button. That's going to take you to this screen. Now this screen is super important. This is where you basically pick where your cloud server is going to be located, and you want to pick something that is physically close to where you are. And it's extremely important for cloud gaming. Your distance to the server dictates how responsive the server is and how much lag you might experience and things like that. So for me, East Coast is closest to me. If you're closer to the West Coast, choose this one down here. Closer to Europe, go ahead and choose this one down here. And once you've made your selection, scroll down just a little bit more, and it's going to ask you what type of machine you want to set up. Now, initially it's going to be under Windows templates, but you want to go over here and click Public Templates. And you'll see that you have an option here for Parsec. Now, when you click on that, you're going to get a pop-up window that says Unavailable. And if I summarize this text, it's basically telling you that, hey, you're a new user, you have a new account, and we want to know what you're going to be doing with a more powerful machine because we don't want people just to spam us and use our resources for no reason. So on that screen, you're going to click on this box, and you're basically just going to type in and say, hey, I'm setting up a Parsec gaming cloud machine, and I want to have access to the Parsec template so that I can set that up. And then go ahead and just hit submit. Now what's supposed to happen is that once you submit that, they're supposed to email you pretty quickly and say, hey, you know, the Parsec template is unlocked and you can choose a machine. And I can tell you, like, from my personal experience, that it didn't happen that way. So I waited about 24 hours. I hadn't heard anything back. So you can use this as a tip in case that happens to you. If you haven't heard back after a little while, I mean, don't do this right away. Give them a chance. But if you haven't heard back after a day or two, then go ahead and go back to your browser. Go to their Twitter account. So go to Twitter, search for Paperspace. You'll find this. And you're going to click on this button to tweet to them. So you're basically just sending them a message through Twitter and just say, hey, I set up my Paperspace account a couple days ago, and I tried to get the Parsec template unlocked, and I haven't heard anything back. Can you help me? Now, when I did that, they tweeted back within about 10 minutes, and they said, sorry, you know, I'm not sure what happened there. And they told me to email them at a specific address. And once I did, they unlocked the option for me within about 10 more minutes. So everything got figured out in the end. So on your side, once you've gotten the template unlocked, you can go ahead and scroll down just a little bit more. And you're going to choose either monthly or hourly. For most of us, we're going to want to choose hourly. That means that we're only billed for the time that we actually play, which is the most affordable option. And you're going to pick a machine. And you'll see that the machine options here are about the same as what you had over in the Parsec app itself. So the GPU Plus, P4000, P5000. Now they do have an additional one over here called the P6000. And I haven't tested it, but I can tell you that the P5000 is plenty. So it's a very high-end beastie graphic processor, runs things on high and ultra, and that should be plenty for you. I mean, you're welcome to choose whatever you like here, but for me, I went ahead and chose that, so that's what I'm going to set up here. Now, in terms of storage, you can choose as little as 50 gigabytes, which is $5 a month, and like we said before, this storage is billed monthly, so every month you get billed at least this amount. So $5 for 50, $6 for 100, $7 for 250, all the way up to 2 terabytes. Now for me, I'm choosing 7 for this machine, and the reason that I'm choosing that is that initially I created a machine with 50 gigabytes, and I quickly realized that the operating system for the cloud server took up about 20 of that. So it only left me with roughly 30 gigabytes or so for games. And for you, that might be fine. It kind of depends on what you're planning to do. So if you're going to be streaming a bunch of small games, then cool, that might meet your needs. Or if you're going to be streaming like one big game, that might be enough. But think about that here, and you want to make sure that you're choosing enough storage to meet your what you're planning to do with games and for the number of games that you plan on installing. So for me, I'm choosing 250. And then if you scroll down here, by default, auto snapshot is usually checked and turned on. This is a backup service that backs up your cloud machine, and you can choose to have it done like once a week, once an hour, etc. But this is a paid service. So for me, I went ahead and unchecked it. And then if you go to the very bottom, it's going to show you payment information. So for you, it's going to ask you to enter your card information. Now this is the most important piece of the checkout process for you. There's a blank right here for promo code, and you're going to want to use the promo code that is in the description of this video. If you do so, it's going to give you $10 off. So it's going to give you a $10 Paperspace credit right away. Now, I've already done this, and I've already created one machine. So on my side, I've only got $5 left because I used $5 on my first machine. So I'm actually going to be billed for $2 for real. For you guys, once you put your code in, this will say 0. And so as soon as you've done all that, go ahead and create your Paperspace. Okay, and then you'll see that it's created, and you're going to see that it's provisioning. The first time that I did this, and we'll see roughly how long it takes today. The first time that I did it, it took about 10 minutes or so. So I apologize, there may be just a bit of downtime here, but I want you to see this in real time so that you know what to expect. So it takes a few minutes, and we'll give it some time just to kind of finish its thing and see what it does. Alright, so I went ahead and I cut ahead a little bit because it took roughly 10 minutes for the machine to stop provisioning and actually be ready. But this is what you'll see. So as soon as it finishes provisioning and it's ready, it's going to be ready for you to go ahead and start working on. So our next step is to set up the machine. And I'll show you that there's a couple tweaks and a couple things that you're going to want to adjust, and we'll jump right into it. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make this full screen just to make it easy. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on my machine to launch it, and you'll see that it loads. Now on this screen, I don't think my screen capture is capturing it, but on the screen it just warns you that you're in full screen. If you want to get out of full screen, you have to hold down Ctrl and Shift for about 3 seconds, and then it'll take you out of full screen. But when you first come in, this is basically what you're going to see. So you'll notice that some things are pre-installed. So you've got your Steam, Blizzard, Origin, and you've got Parsec. Now what you will notice is that Parsec, the version that's on here, is an old, outdated version of Parsec, and it's not something that you're going to want to use moving forward. So our first step is to get rid of that old, outdated version and download a fresh, up-to-date version. So to do that, you're going to go ahead and do a quick search for Control Panel, and then just click on it and open it up. Now it's going to show you a normal control panel, probably what you're used to. I like to expand it so I can see everything in one place. And we're going to go to Programs and Features, and then scroll down, look for Parsec. Now one thing that I suggest that you do real quick before you uninstall it is stop it, because it should be running. So go down here, click this little tilde, right click it, and quit Parsec, so that it's not running while we try to uninstall it at the same time. So do this and then uninstall it, uninstall, and then it's going to bring up your browser and it's going to ask you, why did you uninstall it? Well, don't worry about that, just hit close, hit close. If it leaves an icon on your desktop like it did for me, go ahead and throw it out. And then it's going to say, why did you do that? Well, it's convenient that it opened up our browser, because that's where we're going next. And we're going to go to parsec.tv, and then we're going to download now. And then we're going to choose Windows 7 Plus 64 bits, and we're going to download a fresh copy. And then click on it right here to launch it, and then you can go ahead and close Chrome, and then just hit I agree. And this shouldn't take too long. Now it's going to ask if you want to enable controller support. We definitely do, so hit yes, and then hit close. And basically adding controller support right there gives you the option of playing with the controller on the machine back home. And it's going to ask you to log in after it installs, so click on the blank and use your existing Parsec account. and then log in. Actually, I think it didn't. I saw that do a little reverse of my stuff right there. Okay, and then once it opens up, go ahead and enable hosting. And that is basically it. So Parsec is now set up and it is running. So you can go ahead and hit your X here. Now, for the rest of this, I actually want to get out of the remote desktop, the Paperspace client, and then open this up through Parsec and finish this up. So if you're using full screen like I am, you're going to hold down Ctrl and Shift together for about 3 seconds. You'll see that it takes you out of the client, and you can go ahead and just hit your X here to exit the client altogether. So right now we're back on my actual computer at home, and I've already got Parsec installed, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on Parsec and bring it up. And you'll see that this is the machine at home, and this is that cloud machine that we just set up. And we're going to hit play. And there we are. So we are now streaming through Parsec, and we're back on our cloud machine. And from here, there's not a whole lot that you have to do. So we can go ahead and empty our recycle bin, things like that. And really at this point, you're free to go ahead and just set up your streaming system. Choose the apps that you want to use to install games. So like as an example, I'm going to open up Origin. And I believe that these apps, if I remember correctly from the first time I did this, you may have to update some of these apps when you first open them because the default from the template is out of date. So I'm going to choose to get the update for Origin. And I think I'm going to try Battlefront 2 on this machine. And I'll make a separate video later on showing some gameplay, where I'm actually streaming from this cloud machine to myself at home. And I'll show you exactly what I see. So I'll capture my screen at home so that you can see what the streaming looks like. Obviously, I'm not going to wait, make you guys wait here while I download this software, but I figured I'd show you what it looks like to set it up and show you how fast it is. Oops, getting ahead of myself. And the last time that I did this, my downloads were going at about 20 megabits a second. I'm going to see if it does it again. So we're going to download the Battlefront 2. It's fine to go ahead and keep those there and do all that. And so it shows your download speed right here. We'll see what it gets up to. Because remember, you're using the internet's coverage from Paperspace to do this. So last time it got up to about the 20 range. So right now it's in about the 7s, the 8. Let me give it a few seconds to see if it catches up. Now be aware, and this is a fair point to make it, right now. Be aware that the time that it takes you to install these games does count. You are charged for that, so that that's an hourly rate. So like you guys saw, my machine that I chose is 70 cents an hour. So if it takes me an hour and a half, like it's saying right here, I'm paying like almost $1.50 to download this game. So just calculate that in as you're choosing, how long you want to run your system and which games you want to install. Keep in mind that you are being billed for the time that it takes to download and install your game. And that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and use Alt and F4 on my keyboard to exit my stream. So that takes us back to the desktop over here. And my machine is still running. So my cloud machine is still running. It's still downloading that game. You can go ahead and quit Parsec now. Now here's an important last step. You're going to go back to the Paperspace client. And remember, we talked, one of the things that we brought up was that if you set up your Paperspace cloud machine through Parsec, when you quit your stream like I just did, it will also shut down your Paperspace machine. But because we set this up through the Paperspace website, we have to manually go back through and shut down our machine. So we're going to go right here and click on the gear, and you see that we have the option to shut down. Now I'm going to do that now, and we'll wait for that to finish. It just takes a minute. But you can see here that you have a couple extra options as well that are kind of nice. So one is that you can change the name of that cloud machine if you want to. It shows you some of the details, like, again, it kind of repeats your hardware and shows you where you're at. Pretty cool that this GPU has 16 gigabytes. That's awesome. And if you scroll down, if you had enabled snapshots, you can manage those right here. If you want to keep an eye on how much you're spending, you can go up here to billing and scroll down a bit, and it will give you an idea of how much you've used. So on this machine, I've used an hour and a half roughly, and it reminds you that, like for me, I chose the 250 gigabyte hard drive, so I'm paying $7 a month plus 70 cents an hour. So it's cool to kind of keep an eye on that, and that should update every now and then. So usually about once an hour, it'll update you and let you know how much you've used. And that's basically it. So you can see that my machine is now off. If I wanted to go game again, I'd need to go back to the gear, hit start to boot up the machine, and then I could go to Parsec and log into it. And that's really it. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And that's all there is to it. So I showed you how to set up an account, how to use Parsec, and how to set up a cloud machine that's powered by Parsec and how to stream to it. And I think I was pretty clear, but if you guys have any questions or anything that wasn't straightforward or any steps that you wanted clarification on, feel free to leave a comment below. To reiterate, in the description below, there is a code that you can use during the sign-up process to get $10 off, so a $10 credit with Paperspace, and that will let you set up your cloud machine completely for free and give you a few hours of free cloud gaming. You know, like we said, it lets you test it and see what you think, and feel free to use that code. And until next time, it's been an exciting year. 2017 was an awesome year for game streaming. I expect that 2018 will be equally awesome. I know that Parsec is back in the office. They're getting ready to continue their development of the product, and I'm excited to see what they do next. And until next time, you guys have fun. Enjoy some cloud gaming.